So, who are you?
Pardon?
Who are you?
Yes. What?
What's your name?
What's my name?
Yeah.
Richard Russell,
Okay.
Senior.
Um, now, I'm just wondering what the most amazing place you ever been has been. Like, um,
Yellowstone National Park.
Yellowstone National Park?
Yep.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 12 years ago, so I was 74.
24? Was there a reason for doing so?
We took a 31-day trip, and on the trip was the national parks out west. And I liked Yellowstone was the nicest park that I saw. It was more than nicest. It was just you couldn't believe what you see. You couldn't believe this is a crater with hot springs all through it. You could not believe how it could still exist without blowing up. And all different colored hot springs, different temperatures, and fortunately it was fenced and roped off so you couldn't get into the hot springs, but it was really hot. And it smelled like sulfur. And the other good part about it was all the buffalo. We had a tour bus, and a couple of the bull buffaloes standing alongside the bus almost came to the side windows of the bus, the bottom of the side windows, which is probably 8 to 10 feet. And that's how big these things were.
Was that the first time you ever saw one in the wild?
First time I ever saw a buffalo in the wild. First time I ever saw the only hot springs I've seen was up in Saratoga National Park. You know, they have the springs up there that have the sulfur stink.
Yeah.
And but Yellowstone, we saw wolves, and of course a buffalo. And we saw a herd of buffalo, probably 30 or 40. The little ones and the big ones, the males. It was a great trip. We were there 2 days. We stayed in the Yellowstone Lodge, right where Old Faithful is, right out the door of it is Old Faithful. So that went off every about 92 minutes while we were there. Very nice. I enjoyed that whole park. I don't think that people give it enough, I guess, pleasure. They just go there, see Old Faithful, and leave. You know,
to say they went there.
There's so much, yeah, to say they went there and saw it. Old Faithful is only one little part, and that's not even exciting. You know, to me, the animals, the buffalo, and then them hot springs. You have to see it to believe it. You have to go there.
On that trip, was there any other like natural reserves you went to? Or?
Yes, we went to 4 different national parks in Utah. And Canyonland was probably the most impressive. All years ago, that was all underwater, and how the water washed these I call them figures. They're tunnels and all kinds of crazy things, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And then in Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, was another place with hot springs that you never hear about, and elk are prevalent. They're in the roads. You have to stop, and they just take over the road. You have to stop and wait for them to move. Usually, it's a bull with his harem, and at the time, one day they were there. There was 4 different harems, and you had to just stop. You could walk, you get out, and walk on the sidewalk. They didn't bother you. But the reason you had to stop because they're in the road, middle of the road. You couldn't. There was big signs up telling you what to do, what not to do. But that whole west is we couldn't get to the Grand Canyon or Hoover Dam because it was right after 9/11 and everything was locked down, and we couldn't go. I think you probably could have gone one or two people at a time in a special bus or taxi or something, but we were in a bus, you know, there was 24 of us. So that's why we couldn't go there. So that's the only thing I didn't see was that. I did see the Four Corners out west, and we were in Arizona, and all them. Las Vegas, the Strip, which was okay, but I wouldn't go back the second time. We were there overnight. It was just too much for me. I don't care for that kind of life. Other than that, we saw, you know, we started out on this long trip in Wisconsin. I went to North Dakota or South Dakota too. We saw the Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills and all that stuff. It was wonderful.
So, if you saw all these things, what made you say that Yellowstone was your favorite?
Just because of what it was. It was just tremendous. It's a large hole, miles across. You can see it was a crater bed or whatever it was, and or a volcano opening. And it was just the colors of all the different pools, hot pools, and like I say, all the atmosphere all around it. You know, the different kind of trees and animals. It's just a remarkable place. If you look at it, you know, if you just ride by it, too bad. But if you stop and we walked the trails, which the ones you could walk, they only had a few trails open because of the heat of the, I don't know the exact temperature, but it was like 220 degrees, some of the pools. And the one pool was a brilliant blue, and that was 210 or something, just boiling, just above boiling point. That whole place was just mesmerizing. Every time you saw a different pool or a different geyser, it was, you know, it was different. It wasn't nothing. There was no two alike. Yeah.
So it was really because it was so underappreciated. That's why.
I think so. I think people don't appreciate what they got. In fact, all the national parks, I believe, were. Yellowstone is they go see Old Faithful, and that's it. You know, it's a wonderful place. Yeah. The whole West with all the national parks. You can see why President Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, wanted to make them all national parks. Once you see it, to see it to believe it. Everybody should see that. Instead of going to a baseball game or a football game, you should take the time to see the national parks.
All right. Well, thank you.
That's it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. You're welcome.